Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Inside the Firm. Each week, our hosts will be interviewing local, regional, and national business leaders to give you an inside peek into how they lead their business to success in the ever-competitive business climate.
Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Inside the Firm. Today I have a very special guest. Dr. Debi Silber is the founder of PBD, Betrayal Transformation Institute and National Forgiveness Day, an award-winning speaker, two-time #1 international best-selling author, and a host of From Betrayal to Breakthrough podcast. She is dedicated to helping individuals heal from betrayal and overcome blocks in health, work, relationships, happiness, and her groundbreaking Ph.D. study on betrayal led to 3 discoveries that change how long it takes to heal. She has been featured on Fox, CBS, The Dr. Oz Show, TEDx, and more, and works with people at all stages of healing from betrayal. Debi, it is so fantastic to have you on the show. Thank you for being here. We're gonna jump right in, and before we get into exactly what you do, tell us how you got here. Are you from a family of entrepreneurs? Where does that part of the spirit come from?
Yeah, I've been an entrepreneur for 34 years. I am absolutely unemployable. And it's been health, mindset, personal development. I had a painful betrayal from my family, thought I did everything I needed to do to heal from that. And then it happened again a few years later. This time it was my husband. Usually I go to books or courses or something to help me heal. There wasn't anything I could find. So this was so big that I had to study it so big. So I found myself, here I was 50, joining a PhD program. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it, manage the time. I had 4 kids, 6 dogs, a thriving business, but I had to heal. I mean, it just wasn't an option. And I did a study while I was there. I studied betrayal, and that study led to 3 groundbreaking discoveries, which changes everything we know.
Yeah, let's talk about those discoveries. What are they? I mean, it's obviously led to a lot of success in the media for you, and obviously your book and everything you do. I would love to for you to break those down.
Yeah, sure. So the first discovery was, I had a feeling betrayal was a different type of trauma. I had been through death of a loved one. I've been through disease. And I was like, you know what? Betrayal feels different. I didn't want to assume it was the same for everyone in my study. So I asked him, if you've been through other traumas, is betrayal different for you? Unanimously, they said it's so different. Here's why. Because it feels so intentional, we take it so personally. So the entire self gets shattered. Rejection, abandonment, belonging, confidence, worthiness, trust. They're shattered. Like, think about it. When you lose someone you love, you grieve, you're sad, you mourn the loss, life will never be the same. But you don't go back and question the relationship. You don't go back and question your ability to trust. You don't question your sanity. With betrayal, you do. So that betrayal is a different type of trauma that needs a different way to heal. That was the first discovery.
Amazing. It's just some people, how would they know if it's true betrayal or not? And I'm going to give you one example here.
Yeah.
Let's say, because I think a lot of people dig their own grave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they maybe lack self-awareness. So let's say there's a child, and they are continually lying, they're continually stealing, and then eventually one of the parents just decides, let's say maybe they even come from a broken home. One of the parents decides, you're going to go live with mom. Like, I can't deal with this anymore. You're literally going to break up my current marriage or whatever. Then, which does feel like betrayal, right? From the parent, like, oh, you abandoned me.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, but I still think there's part of it is true. I think part of it is true for sure. What would you say to that person? How do they start their discovery process for themselves and then going down a path of figuring it out?
Yeah, well, you know what? It could be the parents could feel betrayed too. Here's my definition. Betrayal is the breaking of a spoken or unspoken rule, and every relationship has them. The way it works is the more we trust, the more we depend on someone, the deeper the betrayal. So a child who's totally dependent on their parent, the parent does something awful, that's going to have a different impact than, let's say, your coworker taking credit for your idea. Still, betrayal is different level of cleanup left in the wake. But think about it. So if the unspoken rule for the child was, hey, you love me unconditionally, no matter who I am, what I do, they could feel betrayed. On the other hand, the parents could feel like, I'm supposed to have a kid that is going to follow the rules and whatever, right? And they can feel betrayed as well. So there's a dance. It really is the breaking of those spoken or unspoken rules.
Yeah. Very interesting. What is one thing that surprised you about your path down this path
Yeah.
where you're looking at these three big things,
Mhm.
but then also just discovering more about yourself. Is there anything that you did not expect that surprised you about it? I
I
give that.
had, yeah, and we'll get to that in the third discovery. But what I don't know if there's anyone stronger than someone who has healed physically, mentally, emotionally from betrayal. Because think about it, this was the person or people who gave you a sense of safety and security. So when this is the person, these are the people to take that very sense of safety and security away. It's traumatizing. This is the person you run to when other people are causing the harm. That's become the person who's causing the harm. So it's so unsettling and disorienting. So when you can heal from something like that, from something so shocking to the body, mind, and heart from the person you trusted the most, you intentionally and deliberately create a version of yourself that never would have had the opportunity to be created had that not happened. That's trauma well served.
Yeah. What about when people, I got to imagine I don't know if it's proper for them or not. I mean, maybe
Mhm.
this is sort of the question is, if so let's say you get cheated on, right? And I
Mhm.
think your guard goes up
Yeah.
and maybe you're really just kind of maybe digging too deep to the next partner and looking at text, and I don't know, like
Yeah.
what I'm describing is like putting up a fence. So is that part of you, you know, is that part of that okay, or is it not? And how does it work?
Yeah, it's 60. In fact, we've had, and I'm happy to share the statistics from, we've had over 100,000 people take our post-betrayal syndrome, which is a real thing, quiz to see to what extent they're struggling. And in fact, 67% of everyone betrayed puts that big, it's not a fence, it is a brick wall.
Yeah.
And they're keeping out the bad ones, but they're keeping out the good ones too. Now that's not healed, that's hardened. And
Mm.
we can spot an unhealed betrayal in your health, in your work, in your relationships. So, for example, in relationships, I'll see it in one of two ways. Classic sign of an unhealed betrayal: repeat betrayals. The faces change, but it's the same thing. You go from partner to partner to partner, boss to boss to boss, friend to friend to friend. You say, is it me? Yes, it is. Not in that it's your fault, in that it's your opportunity. There's a profound lesson waiting, needing to be learned. You are lovable, worthy, and deserving. Get better boundaries in place, whatever it is. Until and unless you get that, you're going to have opportunities in the form of people to teach you, right? The other way we see it in relationships is that big wall goes up. You're like, nope, that hurts so badly. I'd rather keep everyone at a distance than risk that level of vulnerability and being hurt again. Like I said, that's not healed, that's hardened. We see it in health too. People go to the most well-meaning, amazing doctors, healers, coaches, therapists. I'm friends with many of them to manage a stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. At the root of it is an unhealed betrayal. Or at work, you deserve that raise or promotion, but your confidence was shattered, so you don't have the confidence to ask. Or, you're the person you trusted the most proved untrustworthy. How do you trust that boss, that coworker, that partner? Shows up everywhere.
Yeah. Amazing.
Mm.
Um, I think so. We've talked about the first, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Can we move? Let's move forward
Yeah.
and keep going there.
Yeah, sure. So the second discovery was there's actually a collection of symptoms, physical, mental, and emotional, so common to betrayal. It's now known as post-betrayal syndrome. And, like I said, we've had over 100,000 people take our post-betrayal syndrome quiz. Now, what's so interesting is we've all been taught time heals all wounds. I have the proof that when it comes to betrayal, that's not true.
Mm.
There's a question on the quiz that says, is there anything else you'd like to share? And people write things like, my betrayal happened 35 years ago. I'll never trust again. My betrayal happened 15 years ago. Feels like it happened yesterday. So we know we can't count on time. We can't even count on a new relationship to heal it. Healing needs to be deliberate and intentional. And I'm happy to share some of the stats if you want to hear them.
Yeah, I would love to hear I mean, I'm a sucker for stats, so.
Because that would have been a weird moment if you said no. All right. So now imagine men, women, just about every country is represented, over 100,000 people. As much as I'm sharing this, not the symptoms, pay attention to these numbers too. 78% constantly revisit their experience. 81% feel a loss of personal power. Think of the choices you make when you have no personal power. 94% deal with painful triggers. These are the most common physical symptoms. 71% have low energy, 68% have sleep issues, 63% have extreme fatigue. Now, you're trying to go to work and manage your day, right? 47% have weight changes. In the beginning, you can't hold food down. Later on, you're emotionally eating, so you start putting on a lot of weight. 45% have digestive issues, Crohn's, IBS, diverticulitis, doesn't matter. Most common mental symptoms, 78% are overwhelmed. 64% are in shock, 62% can't concentrate. So imagine that. You can't concentrate. You have a gut issue. You're exhausted. You have to take care of your kids, help your elderly parents go to work. That's not even emotionally. Emotionally, 88% experience extreme sadness. 83% are very angry. Very common to bounce back and forth between those two all day long, which is exhausting. I'll just read a few more. Yeah. 79% are stressed. This one killed me. 84% have an inability to trust. Think about how that would affect your relationships. 67% prevent themselves from forming deep relationships because they're afraid of being hurt again. I shared that one. 82% find it hard to move forward. 90% want to move forward, but they don't know how. What's even more staggering to me about those numbers, they're not even representative of a recent betrayal. This could be from something that happened decades ago. So think about it. That person may not know, care, remember. They may not even be alive. And here we are today with these symptoms because it's been left unhealed. The good news is you could heal from all of it, which was the third discovery.
And it sounds like one of the big linchpins was just getting that empirical data from everybody, the 100,000 people. I mean, it must have been shocking once you did it.
It was so confirming because, what was fascinating to me also, your immune system is suppressed. So now you are at risk for every single stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. But what I also saw, this was amazing to me. People would be in the earlier stages looking 10 years older. By the time they healed, they looked 10 years younger. I mean, I wish I took everybody's picture as they entered into the PBC Institute because it was shocking to see. But, just to sum up the stats there, we had a woman in our program in her mid-80s. She had a family betrayal. So 70 plus years ago, she found out she was adopted. It was like one of those kinds of things. So 70 plus years, she had a gut issue. 2 weeks in our program, she healed from a 70 plus year gut issue. That's what happens when you deal with the root cause. Now, for 70 plus years, she was like, well, this is just the way it is. I mean, I have a bad stomach and this is what goes on and blah, blah, blah. And no, when you deal with the actual issue, you heal.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm going to share this with my family this episode. I hope it's okay. We'll see how it goes. There's some certain family members where I'm like, man, I would love to heal with you, but it's going to require, and I will admit what I've done wrong. No problem. I will face the music, but it's not going to work unless you do it with me. It's just unbelievable, right? Because it's like, there's no perfect. There's no black and white. It's always this goopy gray, and everybody sort of like almost everybody involved has a part in that. Yeah, this is fascinating. Thank you for sharing those stats. Let's move on to the third. This is just intriguing. The whole thing's intriguing to me.
Yeah. So the third, for me, this was the most exciting of the three discoveries. And what we learned was, while we can stay stuck for years, decades, a lifetime, and most people do, if we're going to fully heal, and by fully heal, I mean those symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome that I just shared, to this completely rebuilt place where you rebuild your life and yourself, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to move through 5 proven predictable stages. And what's even more exciting about that is we now know what happens physically, mentally, and emotionally at every stage. And we know what we need to do in order to move from one stage to the next. Healing is entirely predictable. Happy to share the stages if you want to hear them.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, sure. So stage 1 is before, and I'm going to give you a boiled down version. Stage 1 is before it happens. And if you can imagine 4 legs of a table, the 4 legs being physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, what I saw with everybody, me too, was a heavy lean on the physical and mental thinking and doing, right? We're so good at that. And kind of neglecting or ignoring the emotional and the spiritual, feeling and being. Well, if a table only has 2 legs, it's going to be easy for that table to topple over. That's us. That's not to say if you're neglecting those areas, you will be betrayed. It was just a typical profile I saw. Stage 2, shock, trauma, D-Day, discovery day. This is the scariest of all of the stages, and everybody remembers their D-Day, right? And this is the breakdown of the body, the mind, and the worldview. Right here, you've ignited the stress response. You're now headed for every single stress-related symptom, illness, condition, and disease. Your mind is in a complete state of chaos. You're like, what? You cannot wrap your mind around what you just learned. It makes no sense. It's like the person you trusted just took a mask off. It's making no sense. And your worldview has just been shattered. Your worldview is your mental model, the rules that govern you, that prevent chaos. Don't go there. Trust this person. These are the rules, right? And in one earth-shattering moment or series of moments, every rule you've been following is no longer real and true. The bottom has bottomed out and the new bottom hasn't been formed yet. This is terrifying. But think about it. If the bottom were to bottom out on you, what would you do? You grab hold of anything or anyone in order to stay safe and stay alive. And that's stage 3. Survival instincts emerge. You're going to notice a lot of people you know right here.
Yeah.
And what's happening is you've figured out how to survive. And because you don't know, here's where you're like, if you can't help me, get out of my way. How do I survive this? You know, who can I trust? Right now, because it feels so much better than the shock and trauma you just came from, we think it's good. And because we don't know there's anywhere else to go, we don't know there's a stage 4 or stage 5. So we plant roots here, we park here. We're not supposed to, but we don't know that. And 4 things start to happen. The first thing is you start getting all those small self benefits. You get your story. We love our story. You get sympathy from everyone you share that story with. You get to be right. You get someone to blame, right? And on some level, we're so unhappy. This feels good. So we take it. So we plant deeper roots. And now because we're here longer than we should be, now the mind starts doing things like, maybe you're not that great. Maybe you deserved it. Maybe this, maybe that. So we plant deeper roots. And now because these are the thoughts we're thinking, this is the energy we're putting out. Like energy attracts like energy. So now you start attracting circumstances and people and even new relationships to prove you right. Right? Here's where we join a lame support group and we found our people. So we will actually sabotage our healing because we found our people. Here's where we go to therapy. Well-meaning therapists, but if they're not highly skilled in betrayal, you're going to feel heard and validated and understood, locking yourself in that stage. And week after week, that's all you're doing. Here's where you're healing. You sabotage yourself because you're afraid to outgrow your betrayal.
Oh, that one I've seen a lot. Yeah. This one actually resonates with me the most so far. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're so miserable because now all you're doing is managing symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome, miserable because nothing's changing. So you're having repeat experiences. You're like, what the heck is happening? Why do I keep having relationships like this? I go to therapy. I have my support group. Is it me? Yes, it is. Nothing has changed yet. Not that you caused the betrayal. It's never your fault. Anyway, because we're so miserable in this space, but we don't know about the other stages, right here, we start numbing, avoiding, distracting. So right here, we start using food, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, right? We do it for a day, a week, a month. Now it's a habit, a year, 10 years, 20 years. I can see someone 20 years later and say, that drinking you're doing, or that numbing in front of the TV, you think that has anything to do with your betrayal? They'd look at me like I had 2 heads. They'd say it happened 20 years ago. All they did was lock themselves in stage 3 and stay there. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know it's frustrating. Like I'm such a completionist. That's where I get really frustrated, and they hypomanic. So it's like if I can't move forward, and I know I want to complete healing, it's like, I would really like to get there too. Yeah. So again, man.
Can I get you out of stage 3 then?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, me myself.
No, I didn't. I want to make sure I complete the stages. I don't want to leave anybody in stage 3.
Oh yes, keep going. Sorry.
Okay. No. It's like talk about an unclosed loop.
I just had to say that. So
yeah. Anyway, if you're willingness is the biggest word right here. Willing to let go of your story, grieve, mourn the loss, bunch of things you need to do. You move to stage 4. Stage 4 is finding and adjusting to a new normal. So here's where you acknowledge, I can't change what happened, but I control what I do with it. Just in that decision, you're turning down the stress response. You're not healing just yet, but you stop the massive damage going on in stages 2 and stage 3. Stage 4 feels like if you've ever moved. If you've ever moved to a new house, office, whatever, your stuff's not there. It's not quite cozy yet, but it's this sort of hopeful excitement. It feels like that. But think about it. If you were to move, you don't take everything with you. You don't take those things that don't represent who you're now ready to become in that new space. And what I found was there's this one spot as people go from stage 3 to stage 4. If your friends weren't there for you, they're not coming along. That lame support group, nope. That therapist who is just, you're feeling heard, validated, understood, nope. That betrayer who's not changing, you're done. And people ask me all the time, what the heck, is it me? Yes, it is. You're undergoing a transformation. If they don't rise, they don't come along. So it's a very not lonely space, very personal space. Anyway, when you settle into this space, you make it cozy, you make it sort of mentally home, you move into the 5th most beautiful stage. This is healing, rebirth, and a new worldview. The body starts to heal. Self-love, self-care, eating well, exercise. Ugh. You couldn't do that before. You didn't have the bandwidth, right?
Yeah.
Your mind is healing. You're making all kinds of new rules, new boundaries based on the road you just traveled. And you have a whole new worldview based on everything you see so clearly now. And the 4 legs of the table, in the beginning, it was just all about the physical and the mental. By this point, we're solidly grounded because we're focused on the emotional and the spiritual too. Those are the 5 stages.
Amazing. If I've got about 3 questions left here. We're coming up on a half hour. The first one would be, okay, what is it like to start engaging with you and to work towards one and get through 1 through 5? What is that process like?
Yeah, it's, we have within the PBT Institute it's everything the research proved works. So the research proved you need certain elements physically, mentally, and emotionally to move you through. So I certify a lot of the coaches, the best of the best get to work within the PBT Institute. They're all certified in the 5 stages, but they're so amazing at different stages. Because, like, for example, stage 2, shock trauma, you need to regulate your nervous system. We have an amazing coach for that, right? When you're in the later stages, you need personal development, you need mindset stuff. You're ready for such different things. So between our coaches, our programs, even our community, it's everything the research proved moves you through. And we do a lot of certifications. Now we started for business coaches and leadership coaches, because you can have the most amazing client and you're like, why aren't my best tried and true tactics working? Because let's say they're lacking confidence, because it has nothing to do with what you're teaching. If they don't understand betrayal is at the root of it, your best stuff isn't going to work. So it's so collaborative in that when you understand the 5 stages, whether you're a leadership coach, a business coach, or whatever, you really have now an arsenal of tools to help someone move through.
Yeah. Do they begin though with just like visiting the website, taking the survey, that sort of thing?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, we have everything there. So it's whatever you're looking for, we have it, but everything is at, thepbtinstitute.com.
Okay. Beautiful. Yeah. This has been just phenomenal, fascinating, the whole thing. Second to last question is, knowing what you know now, and if you could go back in time when you first started everything you're doing with the PBD, what advice would you give your former self?
Yeah. And it's going to sound like you've heard these things like, I wouldn't change a thing. The truth is I really wouldn't, because I remember going through the study and saying, I have no idea if I'm going to heal from this, but if I can, I'm taking everybody with me. And for me, knowing that the 5 stages are in as many hands as possible, we can help a lot of people heal.
That's actually the first time I've ever heard that answer, by the way. So thank you for that. Where can people find and follow you if they want to get in touch with everything? Just give it one more plug, please.
Yeah, thank you. Everything is at the PBT, as in post betrayal transformation, thepbtinstitute.com.
Beautiful. Dr. Debi, you're changing the world. Thank you for everything you're doing. I'm so glad that you're just on this path. This is amazing. I can't wait to share this episode with everybody. So appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much.